I got something cool for you guys to do. So as we get set up, we still have some people rolling in here. Upper left-hand side is a QR code. And what I'd like to do is invite you guys to the Facebook group that we have. So the Facebook group it's streaming No Reps Left Behind, but ultimately think of it as a group where ultimately sales reps can come to truly talk about sales. I'm posting stuff in there. So if I'm traveling, if I'm doing meetings, whatever it might be, I'm posting inside there. But the group is as good as the group makes it. So if you guys want to take your phone, you can scan it. It'll take you right to the Facebook group. You can apply to go into it. And there's 2 or 3 questions to be able to jump in. But it is a closed group. So I do my best to be able to make sure that only the I'll say the best reps make it in, or the real ones, I should say, that join in. But it's commercial. I think it's service tips, tricks, and tactics is what it's called. So jump in, use your QR phone or QR code as everything gets jumping in, and we'll get rolling here shortly. Today is going to be cool. That's the only thing I can tell you guys. It's going to be cool because we've spoke about the ooh, my internet connection's unstable. Imagine that. Live in the real world, guys. So today's going to be really cool because we've went through checkbox 1 and 2, right? Is the problem big enough for them to act? That's the first thing we got to find out, which means is the customer actually going to do something about it, or are they just going to waste their time and yours putting together a proposal? That's as direct as I can put it. Number 2 is, do they actually need new or outside services, which means, are they just going to go with the guy that they went with for the last 4 years, or do they actually need something new, someone new? Or do they need outside services, which means they've done the work themselves. They've done it for, 2 years, and, you're going to give a proposal for seal and fasteners. They're going to go do it themselves. All of this, as much as it's a qualification for your customers, it's also a disqualification. And that's kind of the more important part, because so many sales reps that I work with focus on the bottom part of the funnel, which means your quotes and your sales. Because if you can quote a lot of job, you can sell more, right? Well, not exactly, because the more junk that you put in your quotes is the more time that you guys are going to spend following up, stopping by buildings, shooting emails out that never get responded to, or losing jobs that you were never going to get in the first place. And that's kind of the coolest thing about all of this, is that we got a very, very simple 3 checkpoints, right? 3 milestones that we got to hit. Is the problem big enough for them to act, right? We got a set of questions that follows behind that, which we'll refresh today. Number 2, do they actually need new and outside services? Do they actually need someone new, or are they just shopping around to make sure that their contractor's not, getting fat and lazy with them? And then number 3, which we're going to go on today, which is, do you have the best solution? The first 2 that we're going to talk about today, right? Those first 2 checkpoints is all about ensuring that the customer is going to take action. There's 2 things we look for, or that you should look for inside a book of business. One is a commitment date from your customer, right? Are they committed to making a decision by X date? And then 2 is a confidence level. And confidence level is all about this third checkbox. How well have you guys done to position yourself as an expert, that you are the only one or the best one to be able to get them from their current reality, whether it's a problem or a goal they're trying to get to the other side of the finish line? Which, if it's a goal, great, right? That's a longer term ROI. We talked a little bit about that last week, right? The ROI and bigger problem and that stuff. But at that point, if it's a problem, what's the problem look like after they're done? And that's your job. And again, we've talked about this inside the past. Their perception of the problem is rarely the actual problem. So we're going to talk a lot about that, but what today really comes down to is, how do you position yourself as an expert inside solving the problem or getting your customer to their goal? Because if you guys are pitching a slide deck or just delivering a proposal and saying, here you go, here's what it's going to take to be able to fix your roof, one thing I can tell you guys is nobody cares about the roof. They care about what's going on in the building, what's disruptive in that building. Is it safety? Is it product? Is it people? Or whatever it is. That's the real problem that they're going to spend money on. Very few people care how pretty their flat roof that no one ever sees looks like. That's what this comes down to. So everything we've done up to this is qualification or even disqualification, right? So we always say discover and disqualify. It's okay to disqualify. Now we're going to be talking about taking that final step and making sure that you guys are the specialist, right? You got a broken leg, you're not going to your general doctor to be able to say, hey, what's going on? You're going to see a specialist. You want someone who has social proof, that knows how to fix this and does it 10 times a week. That's why you go to a general doctor when you have a cough or a cold, and why you go to a specialist when you have a knee injury. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So welcome. All right. I think we're good to roll. You ready, David?
Ready.
Hey, all right, cool. So here we roll. All right, guys, welcome to No Reps Left Behind. My name is Chad Westbrook. If you haven't met me, I'm sorry, here I am. I'm the founder of Sales Alignment or Service Alignment, as you guys know. No Reps Left Behind is what started as a cool idea and now is almost like a passion. Commercial roofing has always been my world for the most part. I've initiated and sold and implemented some of the largest preventative maintenance and service agreement contracts within the United States, well over on my way to $1 billion that I've been accountable for inside commercial roofing sales. And I'll say the biggest part that I stand on is that's all service work, guys. So that's not $1, $2, $3, $4 million projects. It's getting in and saying it's $1, $2, $3,000 projects. So creating that real relationship when the client is ultimately having those leaks, and again, building those relationships. That's what I've done. That's why I'm here. My ultimate goal is to be able to raise the floor. And part of that is showing you guys how ultimately the top 1%, and even not even that, know how to be able to solve a problem or help get the client to the goal. Has nothing to do with roofing. And that's why I'm here, guys.
Hey guys, David Bonney, founder of 45. I'm a multi-time sales leader. I was a sales rep way back in the day, and I sucked at it. I was real bad. Didn't want anything to do with it. My dad was a sales rep, and I didn't want to get even close to it. But I couldn't get another job when I was done with my D1 college basketball career. So, like a lot of us, I just landed in sales, right? And I had to go figure it out on my own. But luckily, I had some awesome mentors who wanted to pour into me, and I used that knowledge as a way to try to create architecture and framework around how to create consistent success, like I was able to in my basketball career, really around playbooks. And in the formulation of those, I went to the top of the West Coast division in a Fortune 500 company, then went into leadership, and then joined a few software companies that were some unicorns. One had a $1 billion valuation. And in those processes or in those experiences, I took the processes that I created for myself in my early teams, and I continued to iterate on them. I continued to optimize them and improve them to the point where, Chad and I met, 3-4 years ago now, Chad?
Yeah.
God, maybe even longer than that. But yeah, maybe 4 years ago. And, as we started working together, looked at what he was doing in the roofing industry. We were both working in the roofing industry together with a specific company. And that's where all this stuff has come from, guys. In the trenches, work from, decades of experience between the two of us, probably close to 40 years now. This stuff is tried and true. This is not theory. This is big time, big money sales strategy that we're delivering here for you guys. And like Chad said, we're doing it because we care. We recognize there's a lot of people here, and we recognize a lot of the names. Some we don't. And we look forward to getting to know you guys better, but we care about you guys. We want the best for you guys. We want you guys to succeed. And we talk to you guys on a monthly basis, some of you, and we want to pour into you. So get active on the chat. We've already got some good questions coming through. I'll be manning it as much as I can. And while I'm riffing, Chad will take over, but we're here for you guys. There's no reason why you guys shouldn't succeed. Okay. And my thing for today is going to be how, not if. You should never be looking and saying, man, I'm going to work my hardest and we'll see if I can hit my quota. No, you're going to work your hardest and you're just going to figure out how you hit your quota. That is the only question you need to be asking. We're going to get out of the if posture and we're going to get into the how stance, and you guys are going to have full control over your sales results. Sorry, go ahead, Chad.
No, you're good. Hope is not a strategy, guys. Right. So delivering the proposal and hoping that they're going to return it, hoping that they're going to sign it, hoping that they're going to return your email or whatever it might be. Like, no one is successful, right? Success is having an exact process and knowing what the end result is. You do X, you get Y. And when you can start consistently repeating that, that's how you get successful, right? We talk about preventative maintenance, giving you that reoccurring revenue. Imagine if you had customers that were reoccurring, not just maintenance contracts. that as your customer grew, you grew with them. And that's the whole trusted advisor side as you're helping them get there.
Dude,
I did have this.
can I say one thing on that real quick, Chad? I got a text today from a friend of mine they do buyer interviews. And they went through and did a swath of buyer interviews on close lost opportunities for a company. They just got done with the work. 2/3 of the opportunities, it was about 23 of the opportunities, which ultimately ended up being, there was like 21 of the opportunities, which ended up being 2/3. 2/3 of the opportunities were lost for sales reasons, for reasons that were preventable by the sales rep. 2/3. You know, we talk about this all the time, right? That swath of closable deals that we're losing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, 2/3 of those for that company. I mean, that is so painful.
I think that number's real. Like I can truly that, right? You think about sales reasons, right? The timing, trust, product fit, pricing, all those kind of different things, right? Those fatalities. I 100% see that, right? What can we do as sales reps to be able to help the client make a decision and make sure that they make the right decision? That's the integrity side of this, especially for me. So typically I skip this slide when we get to this part inside it, but I'm not going to today because I want to talk a little bit about it. Roofers Oasis is ultimately a site that I created that has all of the marketing material that I have used throughout my career. So when you come to roof hatch stickers, you come to presentation folders, business cards, all that kind of different stuff. Now, if your company has it, absolutely phenomenal. But it's Roofers Oasis, so roofers with an S, Oasis, and it's focused around turnkey marketing. So making sure that you guys have what you need. Something as simple as a sticker that goes on a roof hatch can be the difference between your HVAC contractor, or not yours, your customer's HVAC contractor cutting into that roof and doing damage, and having your information to be able to call you. So it's those little things that connect all of these pieces that can truly bring, that world-class service and those world-class businesses together. So if you haven't checked it out, Roofers Oasis, I just wanted to drop this on here because I don't think I talk about it enough, which how much cool stuff it actually has. So check it out if you guys have. All right. Everything we've been talking about is the 4D sales process. So there's 4Ds. So discovery, diagnosis, demonstration. And all of those are put together for one reason, which is to be able to help the client make a decision. That's a huge, huge part about this, right? And those are the first couple check boxes that we go through, is that your customer has to make a decision for anything to happen. Otherwise, it just sits there and dies. And not dies because the client doesn't make a decision because they don't care, right? They can sit there for whether a day, a week, a month, a year and not make a decision. But your proposal dies because it's no longer good. The materials are wrong, the labor is wrong, and whatever else happens inside our industry ultimately creates variables where we can't accept contracts logically. So when we go out and we're talking to customers, we created ultimately the 4D sales process that we're going to go into discovery. And we're going to find out, okay, we're going to go there and we're going to be inquisitive. We're going to be open-minded, right? That's the first checkbox that we go through. The second one, diagnosis, which is we're going to get up on the roof and we're going to see what's going on, right? We're going to be the doctor and find out what's there so we can start diagnosing what those problems are. And today we're going to be talking about demonstration. But again, the one thing that I want to drive home, guys, is that we're doing all of this for the client to be able to make a decision. That is the first action that has to happen, is that your client has to make the commitment that they are going to make a decision, that they are going to move forward. That's number one. And I think that's a huge part that's missed, right? Because we all see a deficiency on a roof. We all see whatever it is. I still remember this, oh man, I can't remember the auto place it was, but they literally had concrete buckets that were holding down the roof, and they had like 100 of them on the roof, and you can see it from the road. And everybody in the world went out there, and including the sales reps that I had, and tried giving them a quote. And the fact of the matter is they didn't have any issues. Yeah, it was ugly. Yeah, it was wrong. But at the end of the day, they had no issues. And the client never, ever made a decision. They ended up remodeling the entire building before they did anything with the roof. So we got to make sure that the client is committed to be able to make a decision. Is the problem big enough that they're actually going to do something about it, right? Then we get in there, to be able to see, do they actually need to do an outside help? And then again today, demonstration. This takes us through these 3 checkpoints, guys, exactly how you see it right now. There's no different. Every customer must go through these 3 checkpoints, because if not, you guys are risking your time, energy, company's money. And I can tell you, time you'll never get more of. Energy is hard to be able to replenish, especially when you're depleted. And pockets are only so deep. when it comes to how far are you guys going to go to be able to get a sale, we got to be able to understand our resources and use them as well as possible. And the part that's beautiful about this process is they're all customer facing, right? Does your customer need to act? That is a benefit that your customer gets before you. Because if your customer makes the decision not to act, that's great. Because now your customer knows the situation's not big enough, right? And you don't have to go through all of the pain of following up with a customer who's never going to buy. Do they actually need outside services, right? That's asking some of the questions that are most of the time missed by sales rep to be able to say, well, why don't you do it yourself? Or why aren't you using the contractor you've used for the last 2 or 3 years? Those can open up amazing opportunities for you to be able to figure out what the hole in their process is or what that contractor fails to deliver, where you guys can be able to come in. So I hope this is clicking in. You have to take every customer through these 3 checkpoints, because as soon as you start skipping them, it creates variables on why your sale can die. And that's what we're trying to get away from. Get away from the maybes and get away from all of the proposals that you deliver that either die on the vine because of cost, trust, product fit, right? Whatever it is. We went through the 5 fatalities, right? That's what we're trying to eliminate. And the coolest part about this, guys, is if you know why your sales are dying, you can correct it in this sales process right here. If you know that trust is one of the biggest issues that you guys are failing at, there's a way to be able to fix that, and you can fix it before you deliver the proposal. Huge, huge part of this. Dave, you want to take us through the confirmation closer?
Yeah, and guys, remember, this is all about the decision, like Chad said on the 4 Ds. This is all about driving people to a decision. Maybes are killing sales processes or sales opportunities more than you guys know. When you allow them to get to the end and give you a maybe because you don't have a structured and strategic sales process, you are putting your deal in jeopardy. Now, the confirmation close is all about going through a process and then just confirming the key pieces of information at the end. No hard closing, no hard pressure that jeopardizes the relationship. You get the sale, but they don't really want to work with you after that, and that general account suffers because of it. But it's also not about just, yeah, sure, just let me know, just give me, shoot me an email whenever you're ready, or just let me know. No, we can't be passive in this. So the confirmation tees it up. And if you could go through a closing process where you were literally able to, guys, this whole process tees you up for at the end, for you to be able to ask 5 simple questions. So Chad, based on everything we talked about, let me just confirm this. I know we've already stated it earlier, but just to be sure, this is a high priority for you guys to solve. You have got to solve this. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And based on your existing resources, you guys have not been able to solve this for a reason, and you do need new help. You are going to need a new vendor. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're not using the contractor we used before.
Okay. All right. So based on all of that, there's really a simple set of questions to ask from here. Chad, are we still aligned on the problems to be solved? And now that I ran you through our solution presentation, are you clear on how we solve those problems?
Yes.
Okay. Are we still aligned on the expected outcomes if these problems were to be solved? And now that you know the price, is the ROI sufficient?
Yes.
Is the cost in the right context? Okay. So last question is, Chad, are we ultimately the right solution?
Yes, I think, yeah.
Solve your problems and get you to your desired outcomes.
Yep.
And if you hear any hesitation at any level, you dive right in. What's not clear?
I was that nice client that said yes to everything.
And you will get a lot, because if we're already established on all of this stuff, it is abnormal for them to pause. It's right? Like, I should already know the answers to these questions, because I should have gotten temp checks and confirmation on these things beforehand. So you're going to get to the end of this thing and you are going to get far more yeses than you do nos, guys. But if you even get the slightest hesitation, you can dive right into it. Okay, great. No, let's pause right here. Where's some hesitation? And I'm going to dive in and I'm going to figure it out. But guys, your ability to consistently close and drive deals to a decision, they do not want to buy our stuff. They want to solve their problems. So stop asking them to break out their checkbook and start asking them the questions that are relevant to them solving their problems and getting to the outcomes that they want. And we can promise you guys, This will be a clean way to drive it to a yes or a no. No's are fine. Yeses are fine. No maybes, period.
The part that I want to put in your guys' head is that when you go through a presentation, right, and you deliver your bid, you guys have to be prepared to never speak to that customer again. Because depending on what's going on, let's just say they're getting multiple bids, right? That customer now has everything that they need in order to be able to make a decision. And if you haven't done a good job, calling out the obvious things that could possibly be a hiccup, a roadblock, or something like that inside their buying strategy, right? That's the trusted advisor sitting on the same side of the table. But at the same point, if you haven't asked the question one is beautiful because let's say you were the first person that came in to be able to talk to them about all the different stuff, right? You're doing this. And then they've had 2 or 3 contractors come behind them. If you don't ask the question, is everyone still aligned to the actual problems that are being solved? Because if something has changed inside there, I've had many different times where I've came in and said, hey, is there anyone else who has proposed something different that you guys like? Right? That's a key question to be able to make sure that nothing has changed in the process. Because you don't know the conversations that they've had. And if you aren't going back before you deliver your proposal to make sure that everything is exactly the same, you could be delivering a proposal based on old or obsolete information, especially if someone has already turned them into a different way. Because you don't know if your customer's on YouTube researching the stuff. You don't know if they're talking to a roof consultant or just another contractor who's trying to sell a different way to be able to complete, right, whatever the scope of work is. And what you have to do as a sales rep is you have to take it out of roofing. Nobody cares about the roof. At the end of the day, they care about the impact to the business or what their problem is or the goal that they're trying to get. And if you can take it out of there, make that bigger issue that we've spoke about, everybody's going to get multiple bids. Everybody's going to go to multiple doctors to be able to get a second opinion. What you have to do is make sure that you are the best solution to where the other ones don't even come close to getting them to their goal or solving their problem. It's a huge, huge part inside that. So when you deliver that proposal, assume that you will never talk to them again. That's the one time that you have to be able to make impact and ensure that you ask 3 questions. Is everyone still aligned to the problems that we're solving? Right? Is everyone still aligned to the expected outcomes? Right? Is the ROI enough? Is the return on investment enough? And we talked about this. Return on investment is not the cost of your proposal. Return on investment is what the customer gets when the solution is fixed, right? When the problem or goal is reached. That's the ROI. ROI is much bigger. Your proposal is percentage points, right? Single-digit percentage points ultimately to the larger issue, typically. We talked about that 5 to 10x, right, that you need to be at. And number 3, it's a straightforward question, right? Are we the right solution to help solve the current problems and get you to your desired outcomes? It's pretty straightforward. Have we done enough to be able to position ourselves as the industry and specific problem expert to be able to get you there? Are you confident in that? And much like David said, if there is a maybe, if there is a, yeah, I think so, do not pass go. Do not collect $200, guys. Do not deliver that proposal because all you're doing is allowing your customer to have that gray spot in their head. And when a customer doesn't have the information they need, David, what happens?
They don't act.
They don't act. Confused mind cannot act.
They either make up their own if they don't have it, or they're just confused and they don't take any action at all.
Yep. Which will take you right back to the fatalities. So if you guys want to truly help your customers, increase your close rate, number 1, you got to be okay with saying no. There are many, many opportunities out there that's not going to align specifically to your business. And yes, I know you guys can quote it, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't check the 3 boxes, it's probably not the right opportunity for you guys, let alone your close ratio is going to be much lower for whatever it is. So I'm not telling you not to go after it, but I'm telling you there is a way to have an exact science, right, to be able to increase that. So, all right, the buyer's action plan. So we're in checkpoint 3 at this point right now. Checkpoint 1, do they need to act, right? So jumping through each one of those, we're going to go through a checkbox recap. So perfect buyer's journey is 3 checkpoints. It's number 1, do they need to act? Number 2, do they need outside services? And then number 3, do we have the best solution? So real quick, I'm going to jump through this. Do they need to act? Checkpoint 1. It consists of 4 questions, okay? There's 4 specific questions that we need to act. Number 1, do they know why they scheduled or attended the call? We always say this when people take the time to sit down with me, there's normally a problem or a goal that they're trying to solve. Which one is it for you guys? I'm not pitching my business. I'm not telling them about who I am, how long we've been in business, or anything else like that. I want to hear about their world. Do they know why they scheduled or attended the call? Are the decision makers present? That's very easy to be able to flip. So, okay, so you're in charge of solving this. Is there anybody else who would be involved? Right? I talk about authority and responsibility. Who's got the responsibility to solve this? Who's got the authority to sign the piece of paper? It's not always the same people. A lot of times there's boards or there's different structures within corporations. And if you're speaking to someone that doesn't have the ability to be able to solve the problem and sign the piece of paper, you have a variable in your sales process, which means whoever you're talking to, the highest level guy that you guys are talking to is the one that has to sell it to somebody else. I don't care how good your sales presentation is, it will only be 50% at best to the guy he's selling it to. So if you don't have a consistent way to be able to execute that, we're going to show you how to do that, right? But are the decision makers present? Have they tried to solve this and failed? This is the part where you got to ask those hard questions. Have you guys tried to fix this before? And if you have, why didn't it work? We got to find out what's going on, because if you go in and just assume that they have a roof deficiency and assume that you guys are going to be able to put together a proposal to be able to fix those leaks, you guys can be bidding the same exact repair process that they've already awarded, they've already failed, and they know they already don't want to do again. You have to ask those questions. And then lastly, do they need to act? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a priority is this for you? What's the scale? How important is this to you guys on a scale of 1 to 10? If they give you a 9 or a 10, that's high priority. If they give you an 8 or below, the next question that instantly comes is, okay, what's a 9 or a 10? What's in front of this project? Because that allows you to be able to understand the priority, guys. Because if they say, oh, we gotta take care of the HVAC units before we move on to roofing, that's absolutely fine. But at least you know the priority level now, and it will give you a better understanding of when the project will be awarded. So again, we're eliminating the maybes, right? There's 4 questions that ultimately result. Does the client need to act? Checkpoint number 2, do they need new or outside services? And David, before I do this, anything you want to add to this one, sir?
No, again, guys, we're just reiterating the fact that timing is the fatality of whether or not they're going to act at all. That's killing a ton of your deals. And you guys should have clarity on this before you move on. This should be one of the first things that you're getting clear on in the sales process. If you're not, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, guys. You're delaying the inevitable because you're not figuring this out. And stop thinking that your prospects already know if this is an urgent priority or not. They don't. I say this all the time. If you really want to understand the quality of an opportunity, give it to the best salesperson on a team. Because I can promise you that salesperson is going to work that opportunity in a way that's going to create more clarity for the prospect to really understand this stuff so that they get out of their own inaction. They get out of their own way. You guys know when you've talked to somebody and you're like, how are they not doing anything about this? Why are they ghosting me? What the heck are they doing? Right? Those are the situations where we could have gotten there. We could have led them to a better outcome than they would have normally been able to achieve. But this is so much on us. We've got to put together the right business plan. And the first part of the business plan is this a top priority for your business?
Awesome. 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 All right. Checkpoint number 2. Right. So we're going to say the same thing, discover and disqualify. If you find out that they don't need to act, that's okay. It's okay if you come to that solution, especially if your client comes to that reality too. I have got many, many opportunities and created a lot of relationships by getting to the point that they actually don't need to do something. Checkpoint number 2, do they need new or outside help? So that's a diagnosis, right? So diagnosis is determine the potential problem they are facing that aligns with what your company does well. It should be a bigger problem than your prospect is not currently aware of because they're not an expert. The example that I always use in this is that a stained ceiling tile. Customer calls you, I got a roof leak, stained ceiling tile is sitting right there. Who cares? What does it matter if it's a stained ceiling tile? And I can tell you the Chinese restaurant in a strip mall is a boatload different than the Chick-fil-A down the street. 2 completely different worlds. What happens if that ceiling tile falls? What's it over? Is it over people? Is it over product, right? Is it going to fall on somebody and create some type of workman's comp issue? Is it going to be water on the floor? It's a slip fall hazard. They are not fixing a roof deficiency. They're not fixing a roof issue. They're fixing something within their environment that they want to change. And as a sales rep, understanding that and recognizing that is a massive first step to getting on the same side of the table as your customer, right? Or your client. So number two, checkpoint two, do they actually need new or outside help? And this is really defining what the gap is. So are we aligned on the actual problems needing to be solved? And I kind of just went through that, right? Stained ceiling tile, who cares? Water on the floor, who cares? Water coming down, destroying the paint on the wall, who cares? Your client will tell you why they care. And that helps you understand this. So one, they justify, yes, we got to be able to get this fixed. Now I'm figuring, why don't you just do it yourself? And most of the time, they don't understand truly what they're fixing. That's where we come in as trusted advisors. So they align on the actual problems that need to be solved. Are the expected outcomes enough to fund a solution? Which means if you were to be able to keep this water off the floor, how do you typically take care of something like that? Right? Do you have a budget that takes care of something like that? I'm not asking them what the budget is. I'm asking how they typically go about buying something like this. That leads us right into number three. Do they have an adequate budget to be able to create the desired outcomes? They don't know what they need to spend if they don't understand the situation. They don't understand what's going on. We talk about us being an expert inside here, right? What happens when a roof leak occurs? Wet insulation, right? Water on the deck. From water in the deck, you can get into HVAC. HVAC is creating air issues, right? I've had mold that's running through HVAC issues or HVAC lines or duct work. All of those things are typically unseen because all they see is ultimately a stained ceiling tile. We've all been on roof systems that have massive rusting inside the deck, massive wet insulation due to neglect. So again, are the expected outcomes enough to fund a solution? Only your customer can answer that question. But we got to be sitting on the same side of the table as them. Do they have adequate budget to be able to create these outcomes? How do you buy something like this? Right? Could you just sign off on it? Do you have to submit for a capital budget? All of this is going to be a massive side. How many times I've went into situations specifically where a client tells me they need a roof replacement, and I give them a budget of $250,000, and then they tell me the corporation will never buy that. So the customer thought he knew what he wanted until I gave him an idea of what it would cost, and he instantly knew that he did not have an adequate budget to be able to buy what he wanted. Right? Always use the analogy of a car. You want to be able to have a car to get to work. A Kia and a Cadillac will both get you to work. Two completely different, realities and experiences, but ultimately costs. Number three, do they have internal resources to solve this? This is the question where you truly just ask the question, why don't you guys just do this yourself? Why don't you guys just solve it yourself? Because what'll happen is they're either going to do one of two things. One, they're going to process it and say, yeah, I can probably go up there and fix the fasteners and stuff themselves, which if that's the case, they're going to come to that either way. Now, the other side of this is we can't do this. We can't go through this. And they'll explain why. They're not allowed on the roof. They don't like going on the roof, whatever it is. What we're doing is we're doing diagnosis at this point right now. We went through the discovery side. Now we're diagnosing what truly needs to happen, and we have to ask the questions that matter. Because if we don't, all of these questions right here, which in my side are typically sensitive questions that are bypassed because they're awkward. If you bypass the questions, the only thing it's going to do to you is leave you voids after you deliver the proposal that they don't have enough to fund a solution, right? Which is budget. They don't have the way to be able to do it, or they're superior. I've ran into this many different times. You deliver a proposal, you deliver the proposal to the site manager, and guess what? The regional manager says no. It's not a big enough problem. I don't care. It's not affecting this. It's not affecting that. If you don't help your customer find out what's going on, or your client, they're not going to be able to sell it up. And that comes right back, right? Do we have the right people in the meeting? David, what do you want to add to this, sir?
Nothing. I mean, I think you covered it. And guys, that remember, the point of this is if you guys ask these questions, you're eliminating the reasons for them to say no. Or you're discovering why they're ultimately going to say no. So Chad always says you can get them out of your pipeline and make sure that you're working the most valuable opportunities. and spending your time on more fruitful activities in your day. Okay.
Nope.
But when you guys are going through this is not a mindless process. Where we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? It's like, this is not a robotic process, guys. Like Phil Jackson did not give Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan the triangle offense and they just magically started scoring more points. That offense put them in position to score and they still had to score. So you need to use your sales skills. And there's some really good salespeople on this call. I recognize their names. You need to be able to use this stuff. And those of you that I'm talking about, you know who you are. You use this stuff and you navigate through these conversations effectively. You need to figure out how to use your soft skills to be able to get through there and ask that budget question in a way that makes sense, right? And we've got all the language for you in 45 and everything else. We put everything, we give you everything that you possibly need, but you guys got to go make it happen. But it's so often of you just go in there and mindlessly ask the question, and then the prospect gives you some weird answer because of how you framed it, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. Nobody's ever going to give me budget. Well, guess what? Hundreds of reps every single day are getting budget numbers. We can promise you that. Chad and I, we get budget numbers. At the very least, it's an ROI, it's a budget multiple, at the very least, right? And this goes for all the questions. So just keep that stuff in mind as we're going through this, guys. We're going to give you everything that you need, but you guys you have to use your skills to be able to get there with this stuff. And when you do, it's beautiful because you're doing it the same way every day, every week, and you're just going to get better and better at it. Better and better at it. Over the course of a year, you guys will be absolutely pros. You guys will be teaching us how to do this stuff when it comes to your specific talents and your specific flavor of it.
100%. All right. So perfect buyer journey. Why we're here. Checkpoint 3, right? Do we have the best solution? And the only real answer from that is absolutely or no, right? There's no maybe inside this, because when you get to the maybe to having the best solution, that means you're a commodity. Maybe means you're being compared to everybody else and you're not able to separate yourself from everybody else. And that's not good. So proven track history, right? You want to be able to go to a doctor and you want to know that your doctor is an expert inside solving the problem that you have or getting you to the goal that you have. If you guys are delivering a proposal and you're not explaining what makes you guys great, right? What's the special sauce or what's the process that you guys have that is going to guarantee the result that your customer wants? So question number one, do we have a proven history of solving their problems? We're going to show you what this looks like, right? But do you have a proven history of solving these problems? And here's where it gets really unique, guys. You cannot have one proposal for your entire business. That doesn't work unless your whole business is one thing, which most of the time, and most of the contractors that I see on here, they're doing roof replacements, they're doing liquid membranes, they're doing preventative maintenance, they're doing life extending service contracts, and they're doing time material leak calls. That's 5 different products. That's 5 different solutions, 5 different sales presentations. Now, granted, leaks probably aren't going to have one, shouldn't have one. How about that? But at the end of the day, you guys have to prove why you are the number one contractor in your metro for extending the useful life of a roof system, right? That is service maintenance 101. What makes you guys so great at that? What makes you different than every other contractor? If you guys are putting on liquid membrane systems, so coatings, whatever we want to call it, what makes you guys great? What makes you guys different than everybody else? And let me tell you, it's not that you're cheaper or faster, right? That kind of different stuff is basic stuff. I can tell them that I'm cheaper and faster. What is it truly that makes you guys unique to the situation, right? And what's the track history of you guys being able to get there? So do you guys have a proven history of solving the problem that they have? That's a huge, huge part to it, right? So our existence matters. We're not just another roofing company, right? Success for our clients, when a client works for us, typically they see, what is it? And if you guys have this outline, that's beautiful. We'll show you how to put that inside framework. But if you don't, you really should be asking yourself that, because that is what your customer wants to hear. Your customer wants to be confident that when they sign that piece of paper, they know that you're going to fix their problem or you are going to get them to the goal. Earlier, we've talked about the 2 degrees of separation, right? Which means if you are delivering this proposal, right, that's supposed to go here and your customer wants to go here, you guys are not going to be aligned. You're going to be like this. Your customer wants this. You're trying to sell the product that you have. And at the end of the day, you're going to have that massive disconnect that, guess what? They don't want your product. right? So you got to understand what success for companies, right? When companies work with us that have your specific problem, they typically see this. This is what it typically looks like. And then what is the battle tested and proven results? I can tell you what we've done. I can tell you how many roof leaks we fixed. And again, I'll show you guys that here inside a minute. Number two, a clear solution. It has to be crystal clear to them, right? And I'm not talking like math, figure it out kind of craziness. It's got to be simple. It's got to be simple that they understand that you guys are an expert and here is how you guys are an expert. So do you have a clear, right, solution that solves their problem? So are they clear on how your solution solves their problem? You guys have to be able to present that. And again, if you are delivering a proposal, I don't care how pretty the proposal is, but if the proposal says 5 linear foot of open seams on a TPO roof, there's nothing special about that, guys. That's a roof deficiency that you can fix with duct tape, or you can fix by heat welding a patch, or you can fix by putting liquid membrane on it. There's nothing special about that. What is special about your company? What separates you from everybody else so you can't be commoditized by them? That's the difference in this. And if you guys don't have a clear way to be able to communicate that, your customer is going to be confused. And David already said it. The confused mind does not act, right? So they have a problem. They're looking for a solution. So how do you guys specifically solve this problem that they have? And that's why I'm telling you, you cannot have one presentation for your entire company because it will be so wide. And we do replacements, we do this. We do everything that has to do with roofing. We're the best roofer and we do everything with roofing. And the one thing that I probably said about 30 times, guys, nobody cares about the roof, okay? They care about the stained ceiling tiles. They care about the water on the floor. They care about the damaged product that they have. They call about the slip fall hazard. They care about the forklifts not being able, they're having to drive around the puddle of water that's in the floor. And when they drive around the puddle of water, it creates a safety hazard for the people walking around. I bring all of this up because these are all real situations that I've been in that once I dive deep enough into it, I realized that they're not trying to fix a roof leak. They're trying to keep someone from getting killed. And that's deep, guys. That is deep. But when it comes down to figuring out what the real problem is they're trying to solve, that's where you need to align and make sure that you end up at the same finish line. How are we going to protect your employees? Here's how we're going to do it. And I'm not telling you you can't do roofing. Roofing's absolutely, that's the product, right? That's what you guys are doing. But you have to align it to them. You have to have your secret sauce, right? That nobody else has. And if you don't, you're going to be forever commoditized. And those three or four multiple bids, right, that they're getting, they're going to pick the best one that they feel by them. And I really, really hope it's not price. So you have to connect the dots. Don't leave it to your customer to connect the dots, because once you deliver the proposal, assume that you're never going to talk to them again. If you do not connect the dots to the problem that they have, to the solution that you're delivering, and show them that you both are going to be at the finish line at the same time, at the same spot, it means you are hoping for your customer to figure this out. Hope is never a strategy. We cannot do that. You have to connect that, and I'll show you what that looks like. So timelines and methods, this is a huge part. And there are some sales reps that are good at this, right? Do the delivery milestones, or delivery methods, sorry, and milestones work for them. You have to be honest with it, right? I can stay on a service side. Just because we fixed the leak right now doesn't mean it's going to stop right now. You could have massive amount of water trapped in the system. It could leak for another couple hours or a couple days. We got to explain that, because if your customer's thinking that you're going to go up there, you're going to fix the leak and the leak's going to instantly stop. Raise the hands inside here who's got a callback or a recall one day later because it's still leaking, because the water is still discharging from the system. Been there, guys. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So yeah, we've all been there. If you don't tell the client, right, what the methods are, we're going to be able to do repairs. However, the water might not stop leaking for a day or two. You got to be able to explain the milestones and the methods that come from all of this. You got to make sure that works. If it's a roof replacement, we've all been inside the part. We're not in material delay world anymore. But typically, if I go meet with someone today and they say they want a re-roof, it's 30 days until I get them a proposal. It's on average 90 days until they award it. That's 120. And at best, maybe 30 days to load it. That's a massive amount of time, guys. We got to be able to explain to the customer, just because the customer has the cash to spend right now doesn't mean the roof gets put on tomorrow. That is delivery methods and that is milestones. That is setting expectations. And if you don't set those expectations up front, you will forever fail to be able to meet what your client's expectation is. David, anything you want to add to this, sir?
I think the only thing that I would say is just remember, guys, we said this a couple sessions ago. Remember, great presentations are set up by good discovery and diagnosis. Right. So the bigger problem that you're typically dealing with is boom. And that should align to your clear solution. Right. The bigger problem that you're typically dealing with is boom. And that might potentially align to your delivery and timelines, how quickly you guys are out there, how responsive you are, when you're getting things done, how you're getting them done to ensure that you're meeting their needs. But if you're not teeing this stuff up in the diagnosis phase, it's going to fall flat in the proposal phase, in the demonstration phase. And that's what the connect the dots stuff is that Chad keeps talking about. So as long as you get aligned with them on those bigger problems, right? And you guys don't solve 100 different bigger problems. There's a core set, probably about 7 to 9, 7 to 10. And you can just rattle off 1, 2, or 3 of them to each prospect. That's what creates the cognitive connect for them so they don't have to burn a bunch of calories. And they don't need to understand your entire proposal. It's a very simple question. Are you very clear? Are you clear on how we're going to solve this one problem that we got aligned on?
Nope.
Are you clear on how we go about doing this work to ensure that you guys don't experience XYZ? And get that confirmation. Like we said before, you get the confirmation before you ever get to the close, and you will get a yes. You should resolve it beforehand.
100%. So everything that we're showing you here should be a conversation. So yes, we're showing you questions that need to be asked, but if you ask the questions in the right way, right? And that's what I'm going to show you is how all of these tie together, is that here's the proof that we're experts at solving your problem. Here's what we do to be able to solve your problems, right? So here's why I'm an expert. We fixed 300, or 3,000 leaks so far this year. We do it by doing X, right? And here's how we go about solving your problems. This should be a conversation. This should be a flow. And we've done the same thing on each checkpoint. It should be a conversation. And the way that I always put it, this should be an inquisitive conversation, guys. It should be inquisitive. You guys should be asking your customer. Your customer should be talking 80, 90% of the time, and you should be engaging the right questions to be able to help them self-discover. Let them self-discover that you are the best solution. You are the expert inside the room. You are the one that's going to get them from their current reality to where they want to be. And I'll say it again, it's not about the roof, guys. It's not about delivering the roof proposal. I don't care how pretty it is or how many deficiencies you have on it. Yes, that has an impact in how they manage data, and there's a huge sale behind that. But what we're talking about specifically in this is we're talking about solving your client's problem. We're talking about helping them get to the goal that they envision with you guys. That's how you increase. I do not care how big your book of business is, because the bigger the book of business is more than likely the less committed dates that you have. And I'm sorry to be real on that, but the bigger book of business you have is typically the less commitments that you truly have. So I challenge you guys on this. I would rather have a book.
November 30th, right? Like that big old book of business with the end of month anticipated close date across all of it.
Yeah, but it said October. It said the 31st of October last month, though, but they didn't buy. So they're going to buy this month. I know it.
Right.
That's a lack of commitment date, guys. Your customer has to be the first one to make a decision that this problem is big enough that they're going to do something about it.
Yep.
Right? So if you have to ask for the sale, you've already lost it. Okay? That's the one thing that I'll tell you guys. If you have to ask for the sale, you've already lost it. Because again, when you deliver this proposal, assume that you are never going to talk to them again. Okay? And you have a couple different options on how you want to be able to deliver this. And the first thing I can say is you can deliver a proposal that looks like this. A bunch of roofing jargon. Okay? And I say that not to be mean, but to be true, because what you guys are doing is you are delivering an expert proposal to someone who knows nothing about your product. So when you're talking about coping, when you're talking about scuppers, when you're talking about tapered systems, most of the time, if you're dealing with a private negotiated individual, they're going to have to research, or you're going to have to explain what's going on. You can also deliver it via email. So if you deliver it inside person, typically it's going to go in a stack of papers, and you're going to be in a stack of papers. Thank you very much. They file it away and they bring it back out. It does nothing to be able to connect the problem that they have or the goal that they have into the solution that they want. The same thing happens with email. Yeah, it's more direct. Yeah, you can get it there quicker. You might be able to put a read receipt to be able to see if they opened it, but you lose even more when you don't deliver it in person, because then they have complete power to be able to delete it, mark it as read, file it for later, or look at your number and just say, nope, not going with this guy. He's higher than the other one, which means you lost it because you don't have control of the situation, right? One of those 5 fatalities that came up. So these are the 2 different ways that you can do it. So the easiest way that I'd be able to say, you can deliver it like this, you can deliver it like this, or finally, if you want to do it right, guys, if you want to differentiate yourself from everybody else, you can do it inside a true workspace, right? So how do you avoid the commodity path? I'm going to show you guys. You do it inside a consistent way where you actually have a workspace to be able to recap what happened with the customer. You guys remember that first question? I know I'm getting close on time here, but if you remember that first question, right? When people take the time to sit down with me, I'm moving fast here. When people take the time to sit down with me, they usually have a problem or goal they're trying to achieve. Which is it for you? I don't care if you're inside sales or outside sales. The question is literally right there inside your face. There's no way to be able to mess up the question when it's written right in front of your face. All you guys have to do at this point is type in what they say. You just have to recap what they say. And I'm showing you how we use all of this, right? We even have pre-drop downs, right? We have roof leaks we can't see to stop, and it's causing issues within our business. Every question that we went through today, we asked for a very specific reason, because it creates what we call a workspace. I'm going to open this up just a little bit so you guys can see it. And what that workspace does is allow your customer to be able to have their own unique solution. Okay. That's what we're doing here. We create their own workspace where they can not only communicate with us, but we can communicate back to them. You know, you talk about, is the solution that we've delivered, right, enough to be able to solve the problems that they have? And the first way to be able to do that is to recap where they're at. Now, this is a real process. This is a real workspace that we have. This is just a beautiful one, right? So the objective, that was question number 1. When people sit down to talk to me, they usually have a problem or a goal. So what's the objective? The hospital's neglected the roofs for over 2 years due to COVID precautions, and they need to get the building up to a leak-free condition. Boom, I didn't make that up. That's what the customer told me. And the most beautiful part about this is that this workspace should be shared with your customer. It will be shared with your customer. So if you don't have something right in here, your customer is going to tell you. Your customer is going to say, nope, that's not right, right? Who's got the authority? Once a proposal is defined, it must be presented to the board for approval. If that's not right, then tell me what the right process is. You guys are asking all of these questions to be able to create a solution for them, not a roof proposal, but a solution to the problem that they have or the goal that they want to get to. So when you have the opportunity to be able to recap all of your different situations, when you're dealing with multiple buyers, the most direct way I can put this is there's no way for your customer to screw this up, because you're asking the questions, you're documenting the questions, the client's confirming the objective, the responsibility, the current reality. What's your guys' current reality? No actions have been taken due to the COVID precautions. You've inspected the roof and delivered a roof report based upon the condition. That's the current reality. We've done the inspection. We have a proposal that, or a roof inspection that we've delivered. That's where they're currently at. There's no guessing in any of this. This is creating an absolute solution to the problem that the customer has, and it's done through these exact questions. Now, priority level, boom, it's right there. We asked the question 1 through 10, how big of a priority is this for you? I know you said it was a 9. Are we still there? This is mirroring. This is a confirmation. If it's not, tell me what changed. Do not deliver the proposal, right, until you have all of the information. If anything changed, find it out. And once you deliver this proposal, assume that you're never going to talk to them again. I know we talked before that your ability level was low. You said like a 2 or a 3 as far as being able to get this done on your own or with your same vendors. Are you still there? Yeah. Nothing's changed. All right, awesome. These are 2 confirmation questions to make sure that whatever we started with has not changed to the point that we're at right now. You guys have the ability to add videos. You want to add a video inside this? Put it inside there. Put something cool about your company, something that makes you unique, right? This is customized to them. And then the coolest part of all of this is what we call a solution roadmap. So the solution roadmap ultimately is a presentation that gives you absolute consistency on how every sales rep presents. And when I say that, I know we got a lot of sales reps inside here, but what happens is you guys have an exact science to how you deliver each product. This is best practices, okay? Is that if you want success, you have to have consistency. Consistency comes from processes. So I'm going to present this to you guys because we've went through all of this. I've showed you the questions that need to be asked. This is checkpoint number 3. Okay. I'm a sales rep. I'm selling for this company. We promise to fix your leaks so you can focus on what really matters. That's what we do. We exist because too many facility managers tolerate roof leaks. Construction is one of the worst in customer experience, and the roof is one of the primary assets for security. That's why we exist. When companies work for us, there's typically 3 things that they see. Number 1 is obviously fewer leaks and less disruption inside the building. Once we start getting that stuff together, we get you budgets that actually work. And our goal is to be able to get you peace of mind through you having control of your budget and understanding what you're spending. So no more unexpected failures, anything else like that. Us inspecting your roof and having a little bit more of a portfolio of it will allow you to be able to get these 3 things. This is what success looks like for our customers. We have a proven track record, which means we've fixed over 1,800 leaks in 2021. And the coolest part about that is 99.56% of the leaks were fixed the first time and within 72 hours. So 72% of leaks were fixed within 72 hours. We are a top 100 contractor throughout the entire United States. That's my proven track record of success. And the methodology, the secret sauce that we have, it's actually not that crazy, but it is very unique to us. Fix it fast, fix it right, fix it for life. Fix it fast. We got 24/7 day and night availability. We got crews throughout the Metroplex, and every one of those trucks are fully equipped. So whatever we show up to, we can at least make repairs on any building that we stop at. We talk about fix it right, right? This is part of the methodology as well. And that means that we exceed national and manufacturer standards. We're certified. We have partners and technicians that you can trust and are certified through some of the major manufacturers. And the quality that we have is second to none because we do post-job walkthroughs, which means we do random walkthroughs of the repairs that we do. I don't care if it's a roof leak or $1 million roof. We're QCing the work. We inspect what we expect, right? Or we expect what we inspect. That's how we fix it right, and we ensure that we fix it right. And then finally, fix it for life. It's no guessing. We pinpoint the problem. If we can't find the problem, we test it and find it. And we also confirm it and test it when we're done. And that's what gives you guys a lifetime certification that if that leak comes back, we're going to repair that at no cost to you. Now, I'm not telling you guys you have to follow this, but what I'm showing you is the secret sauce. I'm showing you the exact process that every sales rep follows. So
But
here's where we're at.
I say something real quick on the timeline, because guys, if you notice, this is the stuff that they care about. Like, we're doing these presentations with prospects, and this is the stuff that they want to see. They don't want to see the PDF. They don't want to see the specifics on how you're going to solve the problem. They don't care. They want to know that you're going to fix it fast, fix it right, and fix it for life, and you're going to stand behind that. That's what they care about. Whatever that takes, just go do it. I don't care. This is the big transition that we're asking you guys to make. We want to deliver to them what they want. Not what we want to give them, which is a proposal with all the specs and all the very specific problems and how we're going to go through and fix them and blah, 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 blah. What they want is they want assurance. They want peace of mind. Right? And that's what this presentation is. Go ahead.
Yeah, understand. I have not delivered the proposal yet, guys.
Yep.
I have not delivered this proposal. I am still explaining what makes us unique, what success looks like, what is my guarantee, right? What is my history of success to be able to do this? We talked about milestones, right? What's the milestones moving forward? Well, we inspect the roof. We're going to summarize our findings. You and I are going to review the goals and options. We're going to create schedules to be able to reduce the disruption. And we're going to stop the issues forever. That's what the plan is. There's no guessing. There's no hoping. I'm telling you what the steps are for. And I know these steps because I've done it 100 times. This is how we guarantee success to our customers that have unexpected roof leaks. That's what this presentation is. This is focused specifically toward the repair and maintenance side of the business. This is what we do, right? So in summary, guys, we see past the leak. We understand the disruptions are more than just a leak inside the business. We're best in class and we're nationally recognized for it. We're certified and we exceed the industry standards. And our one call resolution, we have a 0.05% return of leaks that return. So when I show you this process right here, this is how we guarantee success to our customers all over the Metroplex. Fix forever, we guarantee the results. So I got 3 questions for you guys. Is everyone still aligned to the actual problems that's causing the current or avoidable pain? Are we still there? And now I'm asking this question because it's up top. We've just went through it. We just went through all the questions, right? All this stuff right here, confirming what's going on. What's the pain? What's the current reality? We've done all of that. So are we still aligned to that? If they answer yes, click the box, guys. Okay? If not, go back up, find out what it is. Do not deliver the proposal. Question 2, is everyone still aligned to the expected outcomes if we were to solve the problems? And question 3, are we the right solution to solve the current problems and create the desired outcomes? Are you confident that we're the right solution to do this? Are you confident that we're the expert inside this? And the one thing I can tell you guys is shut up at that point. Have we done enough to be able to make ourselves the expert in the room? The one company that has the secret sauce to be able to take your problems and get you to your desired outcomes. If yes, great. Let's talk about our next steps. When I click this, this opens up your proposal, guys. Doesn't matter where it is, what your PDF is anything else like that. Tag your proposal in here. Yes, it's going to be a bunch of roofing terms inside here, but you guys have to get aligned to the customer. You have to show why you are best in class. You have to give your proven success because they don't care about what you have until they know how you're going to fix their problem. This is not about you. This is about your customer's problem, the money they are going to spend to be able to fix their problems. You have to be a solution to them. And I know we're at time, guys, but that's a huge, huge part about this. This long form is a massive, massive part to consistency, because if not, you guys are more than likely asking the questions that come to top of mind when you walk in. And I bet you it's a completely different conversation if he has football stuff all over the wall versus fishing stuff on the wall. And you can't have consistency. You can't have guaranteed success if those questions are changing, if the presentation is changing based upon the environment that you're at. Consistency breeds success. And that's where we get it from, guys. So anything you want to add? I know we're a couple minutes over, David,
Nope.
before we jump out of this, sir?
Nope.
No? All right, cool. So click the button, pulls it up. We talked about Problem Canvas. The one thing that I'll say, guys, is I know a handful of you are part of Rainmaker and also War Room, and I love that. But there's so much more to No Reps Left Behind. Rainmaker is for busy owners that need to be able to get the support that they need to their team. So take No Reps Left Behind, put it on steroids, and go directly into the business, right? Create that individual strategy for each sales rep so they can start hitting their goals and getting to where they need. That's Rainmaker. War Room, think about sales mastermind, right? Sales leadership mastermind, where the best minds inside the industry are coming together and solving the problems. It's not me dictating best practices. You guys are actually solving the problems and understanding how is someone taking care, bringing their reps up faster, right? Reducing that ramp time, all that different stuff is what we take care inside there. Only request that I have for you guys as you guys start to jump out of here, get the word out, share it on social media, join the Facebook group. I know I put that in there. Hopefully you guys applied to be a part of that. Love to be there with you guys. It's as good as what you make it. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Good, David?
Yep. Fantastic.
Hi, guys. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. And talk soon. Later.